Oh, we made it through another week. It's Friday, the 28th of August. It's Joe Rayo and Joe Chaffee on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. And we are, what is it now? 7, 8, 13 days in a row with live streams.
That
Good Lord.
amazing?
Yeah.
We've just been rolling along here,
Well, if
and we're
this
at the end of August, Joe. Last weekend of August coming up. Believe it or
last
not.
weekend of August, we don't have any tropical storms or hurricanes to talk about other than the remnants of Laura. And nothing that looks like is going to develop anytime soon. So the tropics getting a bit of a break. Of course, we're into our second day in a row of severe weather, Mr. Rayo, and today it is south of New York City, especially down around Philadelphia, southeast, south central Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey. So the target is back there. Yesterday it was north and east of New York City and Long Island for a change. So tomorrow everybody might wind up tasting some showers and thunderstorms the way it looks.
Well, first of all, Philadelphia has had its fair share going back to the middle part of spring. They have been, if there's going to be a shower or a locally strong to severe thunderstorm, Philadelphia, in all likelihood, is going to be in the target zone, and they have been today. And tomorrow, again, yeah, showers, a few strong thunderstorms are possible. Mostly, I should emphasize, Joe, from the approach of the cold front, because really the remnant low that was once Hurricane Laura is going to be pretty south of here, and it's also going to be whatever really active weather it's going to produce is going to be pretty well condensed. So you literally have to be right along the path of that system to really get any substantial or significant uh, adverse weather
Right.
activity. Although, again, the cold front here moving through at the end of the day tomorrow could, in its own right, set off a few showers and locally strong thunder thumpers. And after about, I think, 10 o'clock tomorrow evening, it's all over, skies clear, and that sets us up for a couple of nice days for Sunday and Monday.
Oh yeah. And I am looking forward to that. Looking at the temperatures and dew points, particularly for Monday, when it doesn't get out of the 70s, and dew points will be nice and low. Going to be more than welcome after the steam bath of yesterday. Today actually wasn't too bad here. The morning was on the cool side with a relatively speaking with the breeze. It was in the low 70s for a good part of the morning, and we had a nice breeze just kind of moving the air around. It was it was one of those days where it was humid and yet at the same time it didn't quite feel overly humid until later on in the afternoon when the wind died off and the warmer, more humid air just kind of really took over. And now, of course, as we said, the big battle zone tonight is New Jersey, and the northern edge of the rain is just touching New York City and western Long Island barely, but there were some big cells. You can see them on the radar over central and south Jersey, moving to the east southeast. And there are some other cells, by the way, up in northeastern Virginia that look pretty active, and also in northeastern Maryland. And back to the west, Joe, in Pennsylvania, there's a larger area of showers and downpours. I think some of that may wind up holding together as it moves eastward. So I wouldn't rule out some showers and downpours for some folks sneaking in during the early morning hours toward daybreak.
Well, you see that northwest New Jersey certainly has some indications of shower activity. I'm assuming that that is reaching the ground, and
Yeah.
it may actually, if it continues on its eastward progression, affect a few places in the Westchester area, Rockland County area, with a little bit of wetness this evening. But I think that the main bet for showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder will probably hold off until after midnight tonight. And then for tomorrow, we could have a shower at almost any time, but again, the best chance will probably come in the second half of the day tomorrow as that cold front gets closer to us.
So I circled the three areas on the radar mainly because I get to play with the paint box. But this first area, of course, headed out to the southeast and offshore. This second area is pushing eastward, so that'll be coming in maybe during the early morning hours. Some of this is going to fall apart, but not all of it will. And then you have the remnant low of Laura, which is, we were saying how there would probably be some sort of identifiable feature that you could pick out on the satellite and on the radar, and it's still there. You can actually see the swirl, the counterclockwise swirl here. This is just going to wind up going east and then east northeast, and probably, Joe, yeah, there'll be a little core that moves along, but in essence, it's really getting absorbed by this cold front that is carrying everything eastward.
Exactly. And I think that because of the fact that the core of what was once Laura is going to stay just off to our south, that while we may see parts of our area get brushed by a little bit of that moisture or brushed by a little bit of the moist airfield that at one time was a category 4 hurricane, that really it's not going to amount to all that much. Again, the main concern tomorrow will be from the push of drier air, the cold front approaching from the north and west. That will be coming through later tomorrow and into the early part of tomorrow evening. And I think once it gets past, we're going to be seeing a rather quick clearing trend later tomorrow night. After about 10, 11 o'clock, skies should become clear. And that sets the stage again for that very nice stretch of weather that we'll have for Sunday on into the beginning of next week on Monday.
The satellite shows Laura fairly well defined, actually. The swirl is there, right there. So there's just a remnant low. It's not really producing much in the way of any kind of wind, but it is a severe weather trigger. And the Storm Prediction Centers had to deal with this during today, and of course dealing with the severe thunderstorm watch that they put up for the southern half of New Jersey and back through southeast and south central Pennsylvania. Much of that watch is done, except for where the cells still remain in New Jersey, but that's moving off. But you can see the trailing cold front here is right about there, and that's sweeping southeastward. We have this deep trough in another one of these rather deep troughs in the eastern part of the U.S. Whoops, my pen's being evil. Whoa, it's being drunk there. Uh, but we do have this deep upper air trough in the eastern part of the United States that's picking all of this up. And eventually, as you said, this is going to make an exit tomorrow. We're not dealing with this front stalling out. The trough is going to swing up in through New England, and that's going to bring the dry air into the Northeast and northern mid-Atlantic states for Sunday and Monday. We can hardly wait. By the way, elsewhere, just to point out, a lot of high clouds down in the southeast and in Florida. I talked to my daughter in Georgia earlier. She says it was a pretty cloudy, muggy day where she is in North Georgia. Temperatures in the 80s, and you can see there's not a whole lot of shower and thunderstorm activity going on in Florida at the moment, or in the southeast. There's some scattered stuff around, but there's nothing that really stands out. You of course get into some of the heavier storms on that arm that's circulating around the remnant low of Laura. And as we go out to the west, we're seeing some showers and storms from parts of Arizona and New Mexico scattered, a little more numerous in Colorado. And for a change, Joe, they're not turning anticyclonically. They're actually just kind of moving from southwest to northeast.
Right. And the drier air coming in behind that front will certainly feel good. And it's a progressive pattern, Joe. It's not going to be one where we're going to be staying in any particular air mass for too long a period of time. So, I mean, that's good that we don't have to worry about too many consecutive days of heat and humidity, but it also means that the lovely weather that'll be moving in on Sunday will only be around through Monday and Tuesday. It looks like it may turn out to be another round of unsettled weather. And then, in fact, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week will turn rather humid, rather cloudy. Once again, we'll get into the threat of showery conditions here. But as you were talking about last night, if everything keeps on moving at the same progression that we're seeing now, we'll have a cold front coming on through here on Getaway Friday. I can't believe I'm saying that, but next week, the beginning of the Labor Day holiday weekend, if that front does indeed get through here, we might actually have a nice last or final weekend of summer
vacation. Summer vacation is the season anyway.
Summer, yeah.
I always get corrected. You say, for most people's minds, it goes from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And somebody will say, no, summer doesn't end for another 2 weeks after that until the autumnal equinox. It's like, yeah, but you know what? After Labor Day, well, this is an abnormal year. With who's going back to school, who isn't, et cetera, et cetera. But in a normal year, after Labor Day, everything gets, at least in the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic states, everything is pretty much done. We got a working tornado watch, by the way, in that area with the remnants of Laura in northern Alabama at the moment, and to a small portion of Tennessee. You can see the waning severe thunderstorm watch that is up for southeast PA now. That part of it's been canceled, and looks like just a small portion in southeast New Jersey, down around Cape May, Atlantic City, still remains in the watch. That'll be gone soon once the storms move out. But tomorrow, Mr. Rayo, for the third day in a row, the Storm Prediction Center, bless their hearts, has us in a slight risk of severe weather that runs from eastern North Carolina up to about New York City, with marginal risk into New England. And they've got a they got the risk in there, a 2% risk that some of these cells could spin up into a tornado. We saw that happen yesterday. There's a 2% chance there, running all the way up into upstate New York and into western and northwestern New England. 5% chance of a tornado spinning up in southeast Virginia and in eastern North Carolina. You got all this tropical air. You've got somewhere in there some strands of the remnants of Laura, and this cold front pushing through with a fairly strong heat wave. And in between those showers, Joe, tomorrow, I don't think it's going to be continuous. There are probably going to be some short breaks in between, and you can have a situation where it pours, the sun comes out for an hour, bakes it to an extent, the humidity is going to be atrocious, and then you get another round of showers and storms after that.
Right. I think tomorrow, actually, it's kind of funny. In the after midnight hours, we'll get into some shower activity or rain activity. There might even be a rumble or two of thunder toward daybreak tomorrow morning. Then that kind of peters out for a while, as you mentioned, Joe. A lot of clouds, maybe some pokes of sun, and then the next round will fire up for the afternoon hours. And again, we'll see how that all pans out, because again, a couple of those storms in the afternoon tomorrow could very well be strong to possibly severe. Notice, if you will, where the 5% region is for tornadic activity tomorrow, according to the Storm Prediction Center. What they're probably just doing is they're just tracing out the path of the remnant low of Laura, and just making the assumption that for those places underneath that remnant
Yes,
low, that's going to be the place where the odds of a tornado or funnel cloud is a little bit higher than the rest of the surrounding area, the marginal area, which will be around 2%.
All right, so I want to take a look, because I got my curiosity is now piqued. I want to just take a look and see on the digital National Weather Service digital weather page. I'm going to pull up the dew points for tomorrow, just for laughs, to see how high they're going to be. So I'll just pick a random point. 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, Joe. Look at these dew points. Low and mid 70s everywhere. So the atmosphere is going to certainly be juiced up. And I'm thinking some of these thunderstorms will probably put down some hefty rain as they go by. And still holding on to dew points. You'll see this update a little bit. Dew points are still in the 70s as of 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, they're still in the 70s, waiting for that cold front to go by. So let's go to midnight. Now we're starting to see some dew point relief. Still hanging on to the odd 70-degree dew point at midnight, but starting to see those dew points drop down into the 60s. And then you go back through Pennsylvania, western New York, your dew points are in the upper 50s. So now let's go to Sunday afternoon and take a look at what we got. And
I bet you'll probably have mid to low 50s by then.
Well, this is at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m. Sunday morning, Joe, mid and upper 50s for dew points. At 11 a.m., as the map loads, those dew points shave off a degree or so. and at 2 p.m. they kind of stay mostly in the middle 50s. Good enough for me.
Yep.
Absolutely good enough for me.
And with sunny to partly cloudy skies and temperatures up near 80, what more could you ask for the end of August? That's what you'd like to see. Like to see that every day, but of course you're not going to get that every day in August. But at least we're going to get that break coming our way on Sunday.
So I'm going to run through the upper air tonight, even though, you know what, this model run, oh, here it is. It just filled in. Good. All right. So uh, the upper air pattern, as we have noted many times recently about how we've got this east-west ridge that runs across the Atlantic. You can see it here with an upper high that's well southwest of the Azores and just has this little nose that goes into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And of course, you have this fast flow that is running near the border. We've been getting these short waves, and here's the trough that is swinging around for tomorrow, and then another deeper shortwave drops down from Canada toward Lake Winnipeg. So the first trough is going to lift out. That's going to mean that we'll start to see changes here on Tuesday. And then we're going to have to wait for later next week. But this upper low that's in Hudson Bay is going to rotate around. And if these maps would just fill in, we could rotate around with it. Can't be everybody. It can't be everybody's here looking at this 18Z plot, but it's one of those days, folks, where the server is just not behaving itself. But yeah, they're missing some frames here. I got to go. I'm going to go to the 12Z because this is, and it's not even letting me go to the 12Z. All right, now it's not letting me do anything at all. Good Lord.
Technology, Joe.
Technology. Exactly. I don't know. I don't have that many windows open today. Why is it doing that? It should
Could it be
not be
that so many
doing
people
that.
are on the internet or trying to get onto Levi's website? Or
No, I don't think so, Joe. No, my windows are all frozen at the moment. I can't really do much of anything.
hmm.
Nope. I can't even
and my
switch
friends and
pages.
my friends who are Mac users or fans of Mac, they always refer to or say to me, says, "I can't believe, Joe, that you still are using Windows and they spell it Doze."
Yeah. By the way, everybody wants to see your wonderful face. I got to go pull it back full screen
Oh,
until
I'm
the maps
sorry.
work. That's
I'm
all right.
sorry.
I do have the tropical satellite. We can at least look at that in the meantime. And the Hurricane Center is talking about a couple of waves out in the tropical Atlantic, and you can see them here pretty well. They are the lead wave is south of the Windward Islands, and then there's another wave behind it, and the lead wave is going to continue to move to the west. It's going to go into the Caribbean. Maybe conditions are going to be a little more conducive as it moves toward the central and western Caribbean sometime early next week. We'll see. And in the meantime, the other wave behind it, conditions aren't all that favorable for development at the moment. But when it gets a little bit further to the west, particularly if it goes toward the Leeward Islands, around the early to middle part of next week, conditions are going to be a bit more favorable there. And the Hurricane Center also did mention that the southern part of this wave is south of the Cabo Verde Islands. It's a little small low has developed, so that has a possibility. They actually mentioned that there could be a 40% chance of that developing into a tropical depression in the next several days or so. But that really is about it. Let's see. Can I get to the maps again? Are they working? Nope.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, Joe, when you go on the NHC, the National Hurricane Center site, both crosses are yellow and both of them show very low chances of cyclone formation. And yet, when you go to the 5-day graphic tropical weather outlook, you press on that to see where the projected paths of these purported future tropical systems are going. One of them is in yellow. The lead one is in yellow, but the one that's near the Cabo Verde Islands is in orange,
Right.
uh, and they're talking
Yeah,
about
that's the
saying,
40% one.
right,
I always
right.
look at the 5 day outlook because
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking. That's what I'm
yeah.
looking at. The
I
five
always,
day.
I always, I seldom look at the two. The 2 day comes up when you open up the page, but I usually go right to the 5 day because uh, oftentimes, they might have 0 and 50 or zero, or 20 and 70, something like that. So I just kind of go straight away to that. So my maps aren't working tonight. This is all fine, fun, and this is all wonderful. So, look, the bottom line is, folks, the one thing I will tell you is I know a few people have mentioned this today because of the overnight model runs, both the 0 and 6Z. We're doing something in the long range with some kind of tropical system, particularly the 6Z, which had a wrapped up animal hurricane midway between Florida and Bermuda. I will say that let's forget that the models have, because whether they have anything or not with regards to the tropical system is less important. I think what's more important is the pattern downstream. In my opinion, there is going to be one of these troughs that's coming down out of Canada is going to carve out something, a trough in the east in a big way in about, I don't know, 10 or 11 days. And if there is a tropical system in the wrong position, that is somewhere off the southeast coast or somewhere east of Florida, when that trough is getting carved out, we're going to have to obviously pay attention. But you got to put the two of them together. Just having the deep trough doesn't mean a thing. Just having the tropical system doesn't mean the thing. It's when the two of them come together, as they did with Faye and they did with Isaias. We the risk, I think, is the risk is there down the road. Ooh, wait, something's happening. Something could be happening. Joe, I might just be getting my maps back. I don't know. It just like kind of did something.
It's just like a patient on the gurney, and you see the toe beginning to wiggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as if the yeah, the wheels are starting to turn on a couple of my maps, and then the screen just kind of went blank. So um, maybe it will be released from whatever prison it put itself in. You know what it is? It's this Storm Prediction Center map. I find that if I keep the Storm Prediction Center's page open, it gives me a problem.
That Storm Prediction Center map, I think, updates every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and
Uh,
apparently it's stuck. In fact, I can't even get my mouse there.
well, maybe you just have to go hit Control Alt Delete, and
I think that's what I'm going to do.
it's going to have to just do that as something to
All
do that.
right, hang
Well,
on.
while you're doing that, let me point out also that come Monday, it's the end of summer, the end of meteorological summer, and with the end of summer only a few days away from that viewpoint, this summer nationwide trended the warmest in 4 years, about zero point 0.7 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than last year, and the fourth warmest of the past 35 years. And the southeast U.S. has been similar, to a tad cooler than last year, while the southwest to upper Midwest has been warmer. Rainfall has been the least in 8 years nationally, 16th driest in the past 35 years, with below national average rainfall. 54% of the U.S. is currently in dry to drought conditions. And think about that. When we came into this season, oh, not this season, but into this year of 2020, we had the least amount of drought in the country, and I think more than half a century. We had something like only about 11% of the country was dry to droughty. And now, here we are into late August, 54% of the US currently in a dry to drought phase, and that's way up over where we were at this time last year. Fortunately, tornadoes are trending down by 4% below average, 23% than last year, and not so lucky in the tropics with the fastest start on record, 165 plus years with 13 name systems already, and I'm sure more to come.
All right. So it's been busy, but none this weekend, which is a good thing. All right, I got my maps back up, so that's a plus. So
Yay.
maybe we can go back and just let's see what the 18Z. Although I'm noticing that this is not loaded here, but let's try. There we go. So we're at next weekend where we've got some kind of trough swinging into the east. But you can see, Joe, look at this next rather deep looking trough that drops down. See, now this is what I was just saying. This is about the fourth model run in a row that the GFS has done this. And granted, we're like in day 11 and day 12. I get that, but it's interesting that it keeps doing it every single run. This is an upper air that it would be very scary if we have a tropical system off the southeast coast with an upper air
Oh,
like this.
no question. No question.
It also means that, forgetting the tropical system, the depth of that trough means for some rather cool air coming down out of Canada into the Great Lakes and Northern Plains. And maybe that moves into the east when that trough lifts up and uh, around mid-month, if this is correct. That's a,
Right.
we've had these all during August. What did we have? Three long wave troughs that ran all the way down into the Gulf Coast, which is for August, it's almost unheard of, especially for the early part of the month. And now in September, you would start to see this more and more. And this is where I'm at the point now where I'm on the map for September 10th. This is a rather dynamic looking upper air, should it verify. So again, these troughs keep dropping into the east. If they time it wrong with the tropical system, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and in fact, the Climate Prediction Center on their weekly 3 to 4 week experimental long range forecast, which takes us from the 12th to the 25th of September. Well, lo and behold, Joe, much of the eastern part of the country now either in below or near normal. I mean, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, they had the entire country, even up to Alaska, in orange above normal. But they're suggesting once we get to the second week of September that cooler than normal or below normal temperatures will take hold. I think they're looking at what you're just pointing out, that digging shortwave trough or long wave trough, which may eventually pull down cool air into the nation's midsection and eventually spread it out east toward us. And hopefully that'll be the case.
All right, we're back on full screen now. Just many thanks to Paul Roman for hitting Super Chat tonight. Joe and I really do appreciate it. Also appreciate folks when you come on a Friday night, because usually Friday nights are a low attendance night on the live streams, because people like to do things on Friday nights if they can do them in this environment that we're in. So we want to give a big thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us on the live stream. The chairman is not with us tonight because he's been doing a lot of COVID runs and even doing some supply shipments to the victims of Hurricane Laura. So we hope Scott Briller is staying safe these days, which is very important. But he did leave us. Actually, he left a Briller Jeopardy. He left the Sunday morning one, so I'm going to move that away. I think there was one the other day that he left me that I did not get to. So I'm going to try to find it here.
Incidentally, Joe, I'm looking also on the CPC site, Climate Prediction Center site, for the risk of hazardous temperatures. And they have a broad area which encompasses parts of Montana, the Dakotas, Wyoming, Nebraska, part of Minnesota, and Iowa, a high probability of much below normal temperatures from the period from the 5th to the 11th of September. So that may very well go hand in hand with that long wave trough that you were pointing out, of really pulling down exceptionally cool air into the plain states and the central plains for that second week of September. So a cool down, a big cool down, at least for parts of the country, looks like it's headed our way for September.
We haven't had a below normal September since I don't know when. So it would be really nice if the month turns out to be cooler than average, but no matter. So let's see how much you know about retired hurricanes. Okay. So the first named hurricane that was retired.
Would that be Hazel?
No.
No,
Earlier.
earlier than that?
Yes.
Really? Uh, Connie?
Earlier than Connie.
Wow. Gee, I'm thinking back now to like the mid or early mid 50s. I'm trying to remember, trying to think which would be worthwhile of.
It
I
was
know
it was one
Mo-
that was one that impacted this area.
oh wow,
Southern New England, Long Island, New Jersey, New York City.
Diane or
Well,
Diana?
Diane was after Connie.
Okay, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's yeah, I'm going to tell you you're going to be mad because you're going to say I should have gotten this. Hurricane Carol.
Oh, yes. Oh, why didn't I think about
I
that
don't
one?
know. But Hurricane Carol was the first one. What letter of the alphabet has the most retired storms?
Hmm. I'll say C.
No, believe it or not, and I guess if you think about it, uh, the best chances for major hurricanes that are going to be retired be storms that show up in August and September, particularly later August and September. So they're going to tend to be deeper into the alphabet. So the answer is the letter I. Can you name them?
Was one of them Isidore or
Yes, one was Isidore.
Isaac?
No, no Isaac.
Ivan?
Ivan or Yvonne. I'm ready to
Yvonne?
record, Ivan, in case you're watching.
Trying to think of the last one. Irene,
Irene.
right? Was that you only said three?
No,
You had said
no, no, no. I is the number. These are the name. You want? I'll give you the names. You ready?
okay,
Uh, Igor or Igor
Igor,
or Igor. If you're a young Frankenstein fan, it's Igor. Ike,
Ike,
Inez,
right?
Ingrid.
And Irma, right?
Uh, yeah, Irma. He doesn't have Irma on the list, but yeah, Irma. Irma should have been on that list.
Right.
Ione, Irene, Iris, Isabel, Isidore, and Ivan or Yvonne.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now, here's a follow-up question for 30 points. Okay, including Laura, which will be retired. So, including Laura, which will be retired, that brings the number of retired names to.
Oh, I think we've had more than it's almost like the number of retired numbers up at the up in Monument Park at Yankee Stadium. I'm sure we must. Well, you just went through a whole list of I's,
Right.
so I'm sure that the total number of retired names probably runs into the dozens. I'll say off the top of my head, I'll say 30, 35.
Believe it or not, and it's a very high number. Uh, with Laura, 90.
90. Wow.
90.
Home.
That's a
That's
lot.
amazing. That is a
That
lot.
that is a lot. So, well, you think they've been naming storms for almost 70 years.
Right.
So that average is about one a year, and you do get years where they have multiple retirees,
Right.
and then you have years
Right.
where they don't retire any of them. But those are the numbers. So pretty interesting. And we've got no tropical storms or hurricanes to worry about this weekend. Yay!
Hey,
By the way,
hey, I've got a Thriller Jeopardy question for you.
go for it.
One big question, and we talk about retired names. There has only been one retired hurricane beginning with letters N, P, and T. Can you name them?
N, P, and T
Right.
in the Atlantic Basin.
Correct.
All right. I think the Ed storm, I want to say Nate, because I remember reading somewhere that they retired an N storm in recent years because of what it did down in Honduras or something. So I'm going to say Nate.
Well, the end storm is Noel.
No.
Noel.
Oh,
That was in
okay. As
2007.
in Noel Coward.
Yes.
Okay, so I was wrong on that. I must have mixed it up. The P storm. Hmm. Well, I have to believe in the Pacific that they retired Hurricane Patricia that got to over 200 miles an hour on the wind, and it was the most intense hurricane ever observed in our hemisphere.
Right.
P. So we don't get to the
With the
P.
Atlantic Basin.
Well, we've only in the last 20 years really gotten to those letters like P and T and so on. So, gee, Joe, I honestly I don't know.
Palomo in 2008. I don't remember
I
Palomo.
don't either. And the T storm?
Right.
Hmm. Also, that's another one I've drawn a blank on. I'm not. I used to know these things off the top of my head. There've been so many over the years. I have to literally go back and reread every season because I have basically forgotten what a lot of these storms have done. Um,
Actually, I just saw this little note right below the this question. He said Joe Briller Jeopardy for Friday, and then below that he writes Joe use the above for Monday night. Thanks. Sorry, Scott,
all right.
I didn't see that. But the T storm that has been retired, the lone T retiree is Tomas in 2010.
Okay, I got to go back and look at what these storms did because none of them are remotely ringing a bell.
Right.
All right, so look, let's call it a night at 7:37. We're going into a weekend. I think you and I should, since tomorrow is Saturday and whatever's going to happen is going to happen during the day. We can recap everything on Sunday morning. So we will take Saturday off, okay?
Okay.
And Joe and I will be back Sunday morning at 7 a.m. I'm sorry, at 11 a.m. No,
7 a.m.
God forbid at 7 a.m. No, 11 a.m. on the Joe and Joe Weather Show Sunday morning. By the way, I restarted yesterday and going to continue to do it on a daily basis. I basically took most of the summer off and I wasn't doing my morning weather in 5, but I started it back yesterday and it will be back now going forward. So you'll have that tomorrow, and I usually do that in the morning. That and this show are put on as podcasts, so you can also listen to the Joe and Joe Weather Show or Weather in 5 on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a whole host of other places where you can find it. Just search Joe and Joe Weather Show and it should pop up. And somebody asked me this today. The podcasts are not in lieu of videos. The videos are all done, and then what I do is basically extract the audio from those videos and then put them up as podcasts so that you can just listen to them if you're out exercising or running or walking or just basically using your telephone to ignore people. It comes in handy that you're able to listen to the show and you won't have to watch it. So you get both. Okay. If you want the video, it's there on YouTube. If you want the podcast, you can get it on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Spotify or uh, all over the place. You get the message. We're
Joe.
everywhere. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern Time.